welcome to Psychic Holistic Spotlight. Tonight we have with us, I'm Josie Way, and tonight we have co-hosting with us Ken Demers and Kathy Medeiros. And we have a guest that does a lot of things, so I'm going to let her tell you some of the things she does. But she is a medicine woman, and she is a medical empath, a medical intuitive, and she does healing work. But there's a lot more.
Yes, there is. Basically, my main goal is to teach people to help themselves. I help them recognize what's going on in them, how to take charge from the inside out. And to me, that's the greatest gift I can give them, because we all have that power within ourselves to take charge. And most of us are running around being a weebles wobble, but we don't stand up, those ones that don't fall down. We don't stand up either. But more how to take charge from the inside out, to help take responsibility for their own well-being, how to find those answers within, how to get to that true essence within. So I teach a lot in both on an individual and group and classes and all kinds of things. But how to take charge from the inside out, how to recognize how we're a being of light, having a physical experience, expressing itself through various different bodies. We're far more than the physical. We have a mental, emotional, and a spiritual body. We actually have 12 bodies or more. But it's learning how to take charge. The physical is the effect. And when we get on the causes on the other levels, then we can have more charge of our own reality, because the physical is the reflection of the other bodies, and everything in our life out there is reflecting what's going on in here. And so, in a nutshell, that's kind of what I do. When I work with somebody, I take a breath with them, I scan their energy field, kind of like giving a mental MRI. And I will pick up their energy blocks in my body, and I see the causes on the other levels. I more read from the inside out, kind of more of a healer of heart and soul. That's in a nutshell. How's that?
Well, when we were speaking before, I asked you, do you work on yourself as well? And you didn't say, but I know you were saying, I do for myself what I do for other people, because I need to work on me in order to be able to heal other people.
It's very much so, yes. I kind of came into things a little bit different than most. I've been doing it for about 30 years consciously. After going through a hectic time in my life, to say in a nutshell, after 3 years long, I felt like a deck of cards across the table. And it was like, where do I go from here? And a friend that had been a healer, that I didn't know he was at the time, hadn't seen him in 5 years, called me and came over, and within 5 minutes, all of a sudden, it was a profound experience. Started to respond in things that nobody could have known. And within 5 minutes, it was like, got up and left, and the next day I went through a major unveilment. I spent the day on the boat with the kids and my sister, and it was like I was up here. I saw a purpose and reason for everything that happened in my life, from the smallest to the overall. And went home, and if this is real, thank you. And a light came to me and hit me in the head, and I've never been the same since. So it's been a healing journey ever since then. It's like I didn't know how I got there. I do know that I'd reached a level of consciousness that we are all capable of doing. But it was standing up for the right way to be, regardless of what was coming to me, and for the love of my children. It's kind of like I got there, and then I had to go back and clean up the stuff. So it's always a journey. Life is always full of lessons. Everything happens for a purpose and reason, each to grow and to gain from, whether we see it or not.
Yeah.
So there's something to learn from, there's that insight, there's that growth, there's that healing, there's that applying what you've learned. So it's taken me to the depths and to the heights.
Tricky.
Very much so. But knowledge isn't wisdom until it is applied.
Yes.
And so it's always evolving. I reach highly for learning. It's always very enticing. It's always very intriguing, and it gets magical at times. Put it that way.
Yes. Yes. I particularly love when I'm in a situation that I am not pleased with. And then I remember, bingo, this is an opportunity to learn, to grow, to evolve. And suddenly the situation isn't so bad.
Very much so. And that's how it is, too. If we look at things rather than trying to muddle in it, and stand back, what is there for me to learn and grow from?
Yeah.
And we also learn to listen within, then it's so much easier to get through it. You know, it's been amazing to see what all is there for us all. And to me, there's no greater joy than to help other people find that for themselves. Mm-hmm. We all have our own answer, have the answers within. There is a part of you that knows why you're experiencing anything at any given moment.
Mm-hmm. And we also, from my perspective, are not alone in our journey. There are spirit guides, and I believe in angels, but there are others that are walking the journey with us if we just but ask them to hold my hand a little bit through this episode.
Very much so. When I was first kind of shown on how the different dimensions look, it was like a three-dimensional tic-tac-toe kind of thing. This dimension here is to help them, and we, by them helping us, we're helping them too. Mm-hmm. It's all one. And so it all has purpose, whether it's seen or unseen.
Mm-hmm. So all the dimensions on the spirit side, that they have different purposes as well too, not just for our souls to ascend to?
Yes.
Okay.
Everything in creation has a purpose.
Well, the reason why I asked that question, because you said like this dimension is to help that person. I'm like, so that was an interesting statement.
Yes, it helps. Whenever whether it's a spirit loved one or a guide or an angel, whenever they assist and help us, they get to know us better. They get to know the human condition better. And it's like learning for them so that they can help the next one even better.
And to give that healing is to acknowledge you've received it. And that I'm saying that also in regards to the other dimensions. You know, everything we are, we're a group of systems working together in harmony and balance. You have this part of your body and that part of it all has a purpose mm-hmm. to this greater whole. And what we are an example of everything in creation. It all adds to and to gain from. Okay. So everything has a purpose.
Okay.
That makes sense when I say it that way?
Yeah, my impression was that the higher the dimension is just because we were ascending high to that dimension. But I didn't realize though that, you know, the dimension can give too, so it's just going up to that.
Light is always evolving and expanding.
Okay, I understand that.
So when we're looking at, be it in this life form and in the journey of the soul, this lifetime is only one minute second.
Very true.
But it's always evolving and growing.
I never thought of it that way.
And our body contains our experience. When I think of our body as a whole universe, and that the spirit part of us that guides us is the God for our body, you know, and has to keep peace between all of the different organs and things. They function perfectly when we feed them and exercise, right? But when we don't, they go at war with each other. So everything is to me, is about harmony and finding peace within and without. And taking good care of the physical is part of being spiritual. And I'd like to go to, how can we take better, how can we scan ourselves to know what parts of us are thinking about going to war with each other?
Probably the best way I can are some simple tools and explanations that I have a tendency to give everybody, because it does help them understand. First of all, when picking up on one of the best things, well, let me step back. If you have, in clarity, I was just talking to you a little bit ago about getting that clarity of what's ours and what's not. And if you imagine yourself in a bubble of light, light of love, light of life, keep it simple, because it's all light energy. And put forth the thought, if you scan yourself, just kind of give yourself a mental MRI. See what feels what where, what tension, static, and then put yourself in that bubble of light. And all things stem from thought, power, prayer. So put forth a thought. Clear my space. Let me see clearly here what's mine and what is not on all levels. And take a nice deep breath. And on the exhale, imagine everybody else's stuff being cleaned out of their bubble. And usually 60-70% of the time they'll feel better just like that, because they're picking up on somebody else's energy. Everywhere we go, we're leaving an essence of our energy. So, or we're picking up on on other people's feelings. People can be in a really good mood and all of a sudden go into a room and all of a sudden feel down and out, and they don't even know why. And in that moment, if they would try that, they would find they walked in, somebody else is depressed or down and out, and they're walking in and subconsciously saying, here, I'll take that for you, and not realizing it.
Yeah.
So that's one key thing. But a basic explanation, I find that in simplicity and all its complexity, we're a being of light having a physical experience. We're expressing ourselves through these various different bodies. They all interrelate, effect and reflect. The physical is the effect. The causes are on the other levels. But they all interrelate and effect and reflect. We all have male and female energy. The feminine is that intuitive, creative, and feeling, receptive, that intake. Right brain, left side of the body, unless you're left-handed. The male energy is that logical, rational, putting true self out there. In that outward expression, left brain, right side of the body. Any restriction is ego operating out of fear. And fear is the absence of light. And just like you take that light and you put it through a drop of water, a crystal, you've got the rainbow. You have 7 major energy centers in your body. Each one relates to organs, tissues, and glands, a balance of emotion, a balance of thinking, a balance spiritually, both on the inward and outward expression. So, and they all also relate to a force in nature that moves energy, a sound, a note of the scale, a color of the rainbow. So base chakra, tailbone, hips, hands and feet, colon. And it's that earth energy. It's that balance of security versus insecurity. And we're so taught that our security lies outside of ourselves when it relies within ourselves and our connection to creation. But it's basically when there's imbalance in that, it's when we come in. It was a lot of shifting and shaking in the foundation, and never having that safe place to say, it's okay to be me and feel what I need to feel. And that's where we start shutting off. In that second chakra, it is that balance of giving and receiving pleasure. Now, sexuality is not what I'm talking about. That's an avenue in which we choose or choose not to, or if we choose or how we choose to express ourselves. But that's not who we are. But that is, in that chakra, any kind of abuse, be it mental, emotional, physical, sexual,
I consider that the inner child.
Yeah, that's the seat of creativity. And in the self-judgment, self-doubt, it is denying one's right to be. And this is domination versus domain. This is the seat of anger. It's taking dominion over our own domain. the heart chakra. It's that giving and receiving love. So when there's restriction there, it's fear of what's coming and fear of what I'm going to run into. We're afraid to let love in or out. And this is where we always choke it all down in. This is where we carry guilt on our shoulders, and we usually carry the burdens on our back. So if we look at our body's telling us what's going on in the other levels. But you can fix the body. But if you're not releasing the old energy out of the thinking and the emotional body, then it's going to continue to draw it to us, especially that emotional body. Because that's where we're so taught, don't feel this, stuff it, or, you're being too emotion. But it's just like it's got to come up to get out, because it's constantly drawing to us for that natural process of the universe to draw to us, to force us to heal what's off balance. So there's a lot that our body will tell us. It's just learning how to recognize it. And things out in our life are reflecting what's going on in here.
Yes.
If we have places where we can't trust people, it's mirroring where we're not trusting our own true self.
Yeah, that's a hard one to digest, though. That, people come to us to reflect what we need. They say that if you find yourself annoyed by somebody, you either have had that characteristic that annoys you, or you currently have it and you're not honoring it.
Definite, right.
Yeah.
Very much so.
So how did you start learning all this?
I am more spirit taught.
Okay.
When I went through this unveilment, for lack of better words, I didn't know what just happened to me. I saw things, I knew things, I had energy that worked in my hand, and I became the devil's advocate. Prove it to me, what's going on? And the more I doubted it, the more things happened to say, this is real, take a look at it.
Now, do you think some of this is like past life stuff that you're kind of remembering? Ancient
It's all
wisdom?
remembering for all of us. It's waking up and remembering who we truly are. We're all going through that grand battle within. Which one's going to control the show, ego or true self? And we gave ego a job it can't handle, let alone admit that it can't handle. But it's not the driver in the car. It is, the brake pedal. We all have that answers within us. It's the light of our being. We all have gifts. We all have something to add to and we all have powers that we are common, everybody. And I don't care what walk of life, what culture, religion, we're all here learning the same core lessons, just different avenues, different ways, different walks of life, but the same core lessons, and that's the evolvement of the soul. And I don't care what lesson in life, what choice, be it mental, thought, feeling, action, we're always constantly making a choice. We choose love or we choose fear. And when we choose fear, it's only to come back and say, I should have chose the love. But it's really important that we recognize what real love is.
I was going to say, sometimes it's hard to recognize what love is.
Unconditional loving is giving for the sake of giving without expectation in return. But we have so many conditions on love. You love me this way, and if you don't, I'll love you, but if you don't love me this way, that's not love. And that's not right. It's giving with trusting and knowing in that creation that what we give comes back. Not always in the way we want it or when we want it.
Yeah, not necessarily from the same people.
Correct. But we allow that other person to show their love, that their being can best express their love. But it's learning to trust and recognizing what's going on. But the key is self-love and self-acceptance. If we're not self-loving and self-accepting, that's one part of creator we're not allowing in, and we're controlling the valve. But to love self doesn't mean I'm perfect. It means I love myself, good, bad, and different. Yes, I have this twerp here, and boy, can I grow there. But right here, and now I love and accept myself fully.
And you need a sense of humor.
I'm sorry, what?
You need a sense of humor too,
Oh,
about
yes.
yourself.
Oh, Spirit has a sense of humor, believe me.
Yeah, no, we need that.
So for the scanning, is it just a one-time session or is it multiple sessions with the client?
I believe when I work with somebody, I'll tell them what I see, and I'll help them, give them tools and techniques. I'll give them what they need at that time.
Okay.
Okay.
Now, as you're walking down the street or walking into the restaurant we're going to go to when we leave here, are you picking up off everybody as you walk in?
I can, yes.
I mean, does
There's
that
a lot of
sound-
times I'll be walking along and it's like, okay, who's got the shoulder ache? Because it's not mine. I didn't have it 2 seconds ago.
No, I have to refer back to a few weeks when I first met you, and I come walking in and you say, oh, why are you here? It was like there wasn't a lot of lead time or you sitting and focusing on me. It was like instantly,
Right. It's a matter where we focus our energy on. So, and I can do this distantly over the phone or whatever, as well as the healing work that
Do
way
you
too.
give readings to people?
Yes, I do.
And how does somebody get a hold of you?
Oh, I through my phone. I have a website. I'm in the process of putting
Why
up.
don't we give the public some of your phone numbers and your website or whatever you give out?
My phone number is 503-490-3252. And my website is Resonance of Light.
What is it?
Like resonate as a note, Resonance of Light.
Residence of Light. Okay.
.com.
Give the phone number again. Slowly.
It's 503-490-3252.
That's not slowly, but okay.
Or you can email me.
I do have to say that it is local, even though it's a 503.
Correct.
Area code.
Yes, it's an Oregon area code, but I lived out there for a while. And I am here in the New England area. I do travel a little bit, but I go where Spirit takes me pretty
Are
much.
you open to teaching classes down in this area?
Very much so. I have just pretty much, I have spent the last couple of years, Spirit's had me traveling all over the country, but I am settling here in Boston and Rhode Island down. So I'm finally planting my feet
Yeah, I
a
think
little
we're
bit
going to
again.
talk to Gloria and have you teach some classes over White Light books.
I would love to.
So do you have any classes set up now? Or they're coming?
Not at the moment. I do have some, I'm looking for some places to teach
Okay.
them. I want to also do some free lectures. To me, I also know there's a lot of people that need the help that can't really afford the classes and everything. I am also in the process of getting ready to start a podcast.
Start a
Oh,
what?
that's exciting.
Start a
Podcast.
podcast.
Oh, a podcast, okay.
And on my website, I did a radio show out in Seattle and Tacoma a few years back. So I am taking some of those and putting them up, and it's sharing a lot of the teachings.
As
So
I
what
think
is-
about it, this is
Was it
approximately...
Resonance of Light?
Yes.
Okay.
This is approximately the time that we started this show 30 years ago. I can't remember the exact month, but it's been approximately 30 years. So we've been doing it a while. So just
wonderful.
throw that out. And we're always looking for volunteers, and we're always looking for suggestions for guests. So if you have a suggestion for a guest, call Josie, please.
And my number will appear somewhere. 401-575-6450, if you're interested in recommending a guest.
So you said earlier though that you put on a lot of miles in your car.
Yes.
No, I know you said that you're settling now in the area though, but are you still going to be doing a lot of traveling still?
Not right now.
Okay.
No. I
Well,
had,
what do you call traveling is, I guess, the question.
144,000 miles
Yeah, well,
in,
she says a lot of
4
traveling. She might be thinking from here to Boston. She's thinking from here to Oregon.
no, I knew, after I went through that awakening 30 years ago, I was like, okay, God, I'm beginning to accept this. What do you want me to do with it? And I was given a vision for 3.5 weeks, night and day. And at that point, I put my children, everything but my children, on the back shelf. And I pretty much devoted my life to it and teaching people to help themselves, preparing them for these times that have changed.
That's
we're in
why
here
we
now.
do this show, to teach people
Right.
the options that they have.
Yeah.
So being a single mother of 3 kids, I had 12 years apart of them. I have one on the West Coast, and I have one in New York and one in Boston. So they've kept me traveling. But I was originally from Ohio, and when they finally all left the house, I had a grand giveaway and I left. But I was knew I was always going to come to a time where I'd have to do a lot of travel. So about 3 or 4 years ago, it was time, and I have done all that travel since. I do a lot of energy work also with Mother Earth in opening up doorways, clearing out ancient medicine wheels.
I would like to have you come in and do a show just on that subject, because that's kind of special.
It is. I mean, Mother Earth is a living being. And just as we have energy centers in our bodies and grid lines and meridians, so does she.
Yeah.
And it's overlaying time and dimensions, as you were talking in the other show. And it's cleaning up the dimensions for these times. She's getting ready to do a lot of healing. And we're moving back to ancient grid lines that were back in time. They're new to us, but they're old, the ancient ones. But it's important. She's going through a healing process too, just like we are. Right now, there is more light energy coming to Earth than ever before. And this is also why you're seeing so much going on in the world as far as so
What
much
is that light
cleansing.
energy being used for?
Some of the negative is Mother Earth.
Purging.
Yeah.
Yes.
She is evolving, just like we grow and evolve in our life cycle. She has some too. And she's going, if you look at all the cultures, they all point to a time of prophecy. We're well into those times.
Oh, yeah.
And but it's the more light energy, magnifying coming into Earth.
Have you ever given thought to the future prophecy type stuff?
Oh, yeah.
And what do you see?
I see a lot of things going on now that I was shown 30 years ago happening.
Such as?
There's a whole lot there. You know, after I was given that vision, I was guided across the country, and for 30 days I never had more mass consciousness coming in, saying what these times are about, that I had a paranoia even of knowing what I knew. You talk about the earth changes that are going on, what's going on in society, and cleansing, but it is a cleansing, and most people see it as the end of the world. It's not. It's the end of the world as we see and have known Earth to be. It's we're waking up and realizing we're multidimensional beings.
Oh, yeah.
And this is the only dimension time exists. So it's waking up to see that there's much more. And it's a cleansing process.
At this moment, I have to remind us of time.
Nice.
We're almost out of time. And I want to say thank you for being a guest on the show.
You're
Thank you,
welcome.
Ken.
Thank you.
Thank you, Kathy. Please come back and visit us again.
Repeat your phone number, quick, slowly though.
Okay. It's 503-490-3252.
Ta-da.
Thank you.
Thank you for having me.
Thank
So
you
you've
for
been
being
doing this
here.
for 30 years. I think you've been doing this for a while too.
But we didn't get to talk about the scanning,
Oh, yeah, we talked about it a few times.
not in the depth that I would have liked.
Yeah, well, maybe not though, but it was definitely was discussed though.
Oh, it was interesting stuff. but
Yeah.
It wasn't exactly what we thought we were going to talk about when we started talking.
Well,
I know.
we
A lot
didn't
of
go
our
in depth on
topics-
this.
And she was nervous about,
I'm used to this.
she was nervous. Turn around and she's gone.
I told you.
Okay. Thank you. Good night.
Are we out of time?
Come
yet?
back, yes.
Okay.